the stream. The stream should be live without music because we want to keep the VOD for this one. We're going to be reading Moby Dick, everybody's favorite or the whale story. So we're going to load up Project Gutenberg. Project Gutenberg to Omashu. Read online the web version. We're going to be reading the chapter known as The Pequod Meets the Virgin. Chapter 81 to start. So let's go ahead and make sure we've got everything all set up. My mic is active, my headphones are active, Badger's headphones are active, though not on Badger's head, but available if Cub starts talking or something. Okay, we need to pull up the YouTube chat. We've got the Twitch chat and the Discord open. Things are starting a little bit later today because the camera utils mod is broken and a bunch of other things. Courtesy of updating Minecraft. If we do like /version, it doesn't tell us. Howdy, Jiv. Okay, can the status mod work? Okay, status mod is working. Okay. We have the status mod working. The title of all the streams is wrong. So we're going to change that real quick. This new restream update is killing me. HermitCraft 10, grind and read. Moby Dick, chapters 81 plus. Minecraft. Update all. Something went wrong. It does this. It won't update the title like the first few times I try to update the title. Minecraft. I should have copied and pasted it. HermitCraft 10 live. Moby Dick chapter 81 plus. Okay, the stream is going live, or stream is live. The titles have been updated. The game may or may not have updated. Let's go find out. Twitch.tv/dashboard. Stream manager. Edit. Nope, still thinks we're playing Kingdoms. Minecraft. Are you guys on Blue Sky? Is Restream.io on Blue Sky? It's like, I know you guys are based in Ukraine and you have bigger problems right now, but this is real. You did not need to break everything that worked. Seriously, what the hell? I'm starting strong here. Okay, I don't even know where to whine about this on the internet nowadays. So we're going to just ignore that and hope it gets better on its own, question mark? Hey, I'm setting a great example for everyone here. Okay, so things that are broken right now are the restream title and game setter, the camera mod, and what else? We don't know yet. Bobby mod. Bobby mod's broken right now. So let's go fix that. I've got too many things on the desk. This is what happens when there's no music. There's nothing between my rage and this microphone. Okay. Welcome, DJ Sade. Or, sorry, DJ Secure Hash Algorithm Delaware. Yeah, Delaware. Yeah, Delaware. Okay. See if we can get Bobby mod installed. Updated 18 days ago. Does it work with 1.21.3? Well, it's not working so far, so that's a strong indicator. Okay. Let's try again. Okay. And YouTube has a bunch of other stuff that's broken, so we need to fix that. Minecraft, save. Okay. Oh my gosh. How is YouTube this bad at showing the My Videos screen? It's like you have one job, YouTube. Actually, you have more than one job. But one of the two jobs you have is letting people set things who upload videos or publish stuff. Show the settings screen. Okay. So, here we go again on my own. Bum 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 ba-dum bum 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 ba-dum. Okay, let's see if we can just copy the old camera utils config from 121 over view config folder. We're going to copy over a Bobby folder. And can we copy over our camera utils? Properties, 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 properties. Okay. So now let's try launching Minecraft. Bum 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 bum. Bum 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 bum. Dun 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 dun. Multiplayer. That's the wrong version of Minecraft. Quit. Try this one. Okay. And we're waiting for that to launch. Gusty Gale is making supper, listening to the whale. If that's what you're up for. Welcome Keon's Bishop, Jade Moon 9, Taco Squirrel to you. I hope you're doing fine. Okay, video settings, render distance. Okay, we got that going again. So Bobby mod now working. How is Elytra? Elytra good. Rockets not so good. No mini HUD. M, H, Alt H. Where's Alt? Alt H. Function F3. We need to be heading towards 0, 0. I get the impression we are not heading towards 0, 0. Now we are. Kind of. Albeit poorly. Dun 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 dun. Wandering Mass says, I'm glad to be around for a Moby Dick stream. Well, we'll get there. My white whale is currently getting Minecraft to launch. Which, it's at least launching. Okay. Cool, so there's the back of gems thing. Let's see if we can go get the shopping district preloaded at least so we can tell which direction to go back to in the future. Function F3. Oh yeah, how was our frame rate? 53, 58. VSync should be off. Why is VSync on? Dun 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 dun. Dee 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 dun 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 dun. Clouds off. Clouds are the worst. Okay. I'll be taking a Greyhound on the Hudson River line. I'm in a New York state of mind. Ooh. It comes down to reality. That's fine with me, 'cause I've let it slide. Okay, so here's what we're doing. We're going to grab some of these as well, because we're going to need those. I think I brought all the redstone with me that I had, but I realized we might need some additional, like, switches, just in case we get stitches, because stitches get switches. Okay, so bum 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 bum. Okay, that's probably enough of those, but just in case we got them. Oh, that's right. We used all the redstone to make the gold rails. I was going to get more rockets, too. What crafts are we mining tonight? We're going to be reading chapter 81 of Moby Dick or the Whale. And we are also going to be harvesting sugarcane from Jev's sugarcane farm. Just as soon as I sort out some stuff. By which I mean, like, now. We are going now. My camera utils didn't copy. Keybinds. Let's try that. No! Oh, that's the worst. Options. Controls. Keybinds. Detach camera and third-person distance modifier. Done. And then we need to reset the... third-person distance modifier did not seem functional. Options, video settings, controls, keybinds. Camera utils, detach camera, third-person distance. Third-person camera 2, maybe? Was that it? Hey! I like to move it, move it. I like to move it, move it. Where did Jev put the bed over here is the question. He said he was putting one in. But I actually don't know if he did. That would have been smart to sort that, huh? Does my trial chamber gear include a bed? Let's find out. No. Frog coin's not a bed. Frog coin's not a bed. Player head's not a bed. Wither rose is not a bed. Illumination, not a bed. Plants and bone meal, not a bed. Dyes, not a bed. Written materials, not a bed. Golf bag, not a bed. Wool box. Now we're talking. Crafting bench, not a bed yet. And there we go. We now have that sorted. Okay. I don't think that this should mess with anything. Okay, so first thing we're going to do. We need to go through our pre-stream checklist, even though we can't play the song. I need to mention that I am currently down here in the lower left. We are $5 away from my count, by my count, from our third face camera expansion of the day. Tips are welcome via paypal.me/JoeHills and YouTube Super Chat. Woo! I also need to post a link to what we're reading. So let me pull that right here. Bum, 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 bum. And I need to pin that. Pin message. Okay. So we are going to need to plant some lights down in here. Okay. So now we can at least kind of see. Okay. So it looks like there's redstone blocks under some of these. And then there's... what is this under the rest? This is literally just the ocean down here. Fantastic. Okay. We can work with that. This is not going to be pretty. I'm sorry, Jevon. You know, that's a terrible attitude to have. But it is. It is a terrible attitude. But yeah, realistically, what we have time to do here, and what we are going to do here, is we are going to upgrade his farm to fix some of its most glaring errors. Not even errors. They're just, like, they were things that Jev had deprioritized until later. We are going to drag this farm kicking and screaming into the future. One of the problems it had was it didn't have enough powered rails. Another problem this farm had was that it didn't have enough lights. So we're going to come in here and we're going to put in a bunch of lights and a bunch of powered rails. Jev has been very kind to let us use this farm. I need to come at this with a more positive attitude. I was just stressed out because setting up the stream was more of a terrible, terrible ordeal than usual. Because I had to go through and completely upgrade all my mods. So, HermitCraft is not the best at planning updates. And... so we are on 1.21.3 now, with 0 warning. Like, everybody complained about it, but everybody complained we weren't on the new version, but nobody ever added it to the meeting agenda. And so we never talked about it at any meetings. People just were constantly like, why are we still on the old version? What's going on? And so I guess Isuma thought, well, since it wasn't on the meeting agenda for the last few meetings, and it's not on the meeting agenda for the next meeting, everybody just assumes that it's going to go through whenever it's ready. It seems like it's ready, I'll just do it. So, I am very appreciative of him just taking the initiative there, but I was not prepared for it to happen this morning, or today in particular. I am glad to see it done, but I was not prepared to see it done. I was actually fully prepared to have to deal with this at the next Thursday meeting. I was like, oh, we're going to spend an hour talking about this. It was driving me nuts that nobody had put it on the agenda. And then Asuma just used that as an opportunity to plow forward boldly into the unknown future, and I love him for it. It was beautiful. Thank you, Asuma. Okay. Okay, so over here we've got... Uh-oh. Oh, that's not good. Yeah, see, that's the thing, though, is we can't have that unconnected to the other ones. Because then it won't actually power, right? So this is maybe not great, but I think it should at least deter the spawning of mobs for right now. Okay. So there is a plan for this stream that involves me actually reading, but I need to get this stuff to a point where the mobs aren't going to kill me in the middle of the reading. And quite honestly, we're not there yet. Okay, hopefully these will be powered on either side enough that that's not a whole thing. This is probably good enough over here. Now, that area down there is also dark and full of horrors. So... I just wanna play some green frog lights. I just wanna play some green frog lights. So while we're doing this, we're gonna let all of the sugarcane is growing. So this is actually very productive. Even if this seems like, Joe, you're not getting anything done. Just being over here with all this loaded is growing the sugarcane that we're gonna process with the farming machine. Don't bring me down, spruce. Don't bring me down. I'm actually seriously regretting not having more frog lights on me. We are going to have to check. I think I saw my illumination thing with the frog lights in it, though. So we might be able to get more. Okay. No, no, no. Bum, bum, bum. We're upgrading Jevon's farm because he's letting us use it for the TCG project. But he was like, yeah, there's a few things that it needs fixed. And I'm like, I'm on it, man. It doesn't light up underneath parts of the other farm up there, which is a problem. And it doesn't, the rails all need to be upgraded. So I've got an inventory full of rails, and I'm adding lights. Now, the next chapter of Moby Dick is particularly long. So I wanted to get to a good place with this project before I start reading it. Because it's going to be a whole thing. Okay. It is actually very generous of Jevin to let us get set up here. Yeah, Jevin's pretty cool. I am not going to hang out with him in real life much. I don't think we've actually gotten to meet up at all, actually, now that I think about it. But there's a lot of pinball events up in Ohio, so I'm sure I will get up there soon once we get the new car. Supposedly we should be expecting the title early next week. So that's exciting. Never bought a car at auction before from a private company, so like I'm learning a lot about how all this stuff gets done. Okay, so let's pull this out, and we need to go up to here. Where did I put that bed? Oh, come on. There it is. Oh, too slow. Is it not this level? Is it down one more? Where did I put the beds? Put it right there. Found it. Badger is not allowed to drive in the States. Badger had a motorbike license in the UK, I believe, but not a automotive license. And so I don't think that would count. But my impression is if you aren't allowed to drive in your home country, there's probably no reciprocal driving rights in the United States. That's just my guess. Not an expert. But that's my uneducated guess. But a lot of people in London don't drive cars, so that's not unusual. You gotta keep in mind, like, London is like the Paris of England. I had a lot of fun when I went to London. I strongly recommend it. I have not been to Paris, though. Okay. So we're making some progress across here. Well, you're not hardcore, no, you're not hardcore, unless you live hardcore, unless you live hardcore, and the legend of the rent was way hardcore. I don't know who Ric Flair Wu is. Presumably he's Chinese. Oh, that's cool. I think that the foot pedal worked there when I sneezed. I guess we'll find out when everybody yells at me. Ay, ay, ay. The pedal worked. Woo! Yeah, I was trying to mess with the pedal earlier because I was playing a game that has basically 3 buttons, left, right, and down, to throw coins. I was playing Kingdom 2 Crowns with Mr. Joker TV from out California way. And, yeah, so I thought, like, oh, it'd be funny if I adapted the foot pedal to do those, because I got 3 buttons on the foot pedal. And then I was like, I got partway through trying to program it and was like, oh no, we need to start. Never mind. This is not worth it. But I was like, I don't know if I actually properly restored the previous functionality of the foot pedal. Okay. You know what I realized I don't have open is the tipping alerts, which is fine. I haven't missed any yet. We're still kind of setting up the stream. We posted the what we're reading link. That's pinned. We posted the tipping link, I think. Tips are welcome via paypal.me/Joe Hill and YouTube Super Chat. And my goal was to mob-proof this before we started streaming because I don't want to get killed by mobs in the middle of trying to read. Everything else about this we can kind of do while we're reading, but the mob problem, or moblin, if you will, was going to be too much for that. The middle of nowhere. In college, a bunch of us liked the film The Hunt for Red October. And in The Hunt for Red October, there's a story that the Sonar Man is telling about how a Pavarotti record that he was playing through the ship's PA system was picked up by radar stations all over the Pacific, even one way the hell out in Pearl, meaning Pearl Harbor. And so we used way the hell out in Pearl as slang for, like, really far away from the university. And so, like, I would complain that my bank was way the hell out in Pearl. And, you know, at one point, one of our friends who was not in on this joke, somebody mentions that some restaurant is way the hell out in Pearl. And the guy just looks at him and goes, "Is that where Joe's bank is? I cannot find it on the map." It's like, kind of. Is that near Joe's bank? What is the actual name of that neighborhood? Because it's not on the map. Pavarotti. The Gamer Man, we are working on a sugarcane farm with a flying machine and a rail cart collector. Okay. Is this the starting point for the... Oh, this is the ending point for the minecart. So it actually... Oh, interesting. Okay. So if we want to get maximum efficiency out of this minecart, We should start at the beginning of the track and then do the whole thing, right? Yeah. Is there supposed to be a button here? I feel like there is, but I don't want to interfere with the flying machine. Okay. So, either way, I think I've gotten in enough of a rhythm, and I've lit enough of this up that we could probably start reading relatively soon. So if you want to get any tips in to expand the camera before the reading, now would be a good time to do that. No worries if you'd prefer to see how I read the chapter first. I get it. You're here for a show. Okay. It's like the mighty monarch right there. A little butterfly. The mighty monarch. Okay. 1, 2, 3. Oh yeah, for this to work, the redstone rails all have to be connected to each other. So we're basically replacing almost all of Jevon's rails at once. In one go. I'm not sure if the redstone is going to go that far. Can you waterlog switches? Or will they just pop off underwater? Like, if I go down here with a switch, a Nintendo Switch. No, that just pops right off. Okay. So we might need to, for example, place this redstone block there. Actually, let's just swim out. Okay, up to the bed tops. Bedtime. Woo. Okay. Here we go. So, let's post... We got the tipping link in there. Okay, so I think we're ready to start reading chapter 81. Let's move this out of the way. Did the server do an update? That we've just got the tree notification? I don't know what the tree notification is. Oh, this? I don't know. Punch it to collect wood. I think we're good. So, is this task too complicated for me to complete it while reading Moby Dick? Inquiring minds want to know. Chapter 81 of Moby Dick, or the Whale, by Herman Melville. The Pequod meets the Virgin. The predestinated day arrived, and we duly met the ship Jungfrau, Derek the Deermaster of Bremen. At one time, the greatest whaling people in the world, the Dutch and Germans, are now among the least. But here and there, they're at very wild intervals of latitude and longitude, you still occasionally meet with their flag in the Pacific. For some reason, the Jungfrau seemed quite eager to pay her respects. While yet some distance from the Pequod, she rounded to, and, dropping a boat, her captain was impelled toward us, impatiently standing in the bows instead of the stern. What is he in his hand there? Cried Starbuck, pointing to something wavingly held by the German. Impossible. Lamp feeder. Not that, said Stubb. No, it's a, coffee pot. Mr. Starbuck, he's, coming to make us coffee. Is the Yarman. Don't you see that big tin can there alongside of him? That's his, boiling water. Oh, he's all right, is that Yarman. Go along with you, cried Flask. It's a lamp feeder and an oil can. He's out of oil and has come a-begging. However curious it may seem for an oil ship to be borrowing oil on the whale ground, and however much it may inadvertently contradict the old proverb about carrying coals to Newcastle. Yet sometimes such a thing really happens. And, in the present case, Captain Derek de Deer did indubitably conduct a lamp feeder, as Flask did declare. As he mounted the deck, Ahab abruptly accosted him, without at all heeding what he had in hand. But in his broken lingo, the German soon evinced his complete ignorance of the white whale, immediately turning the conversation to his lamp feeder and his oil can, with some remarks touching his having to turn into his hammock at night in profound darkness, his last drop of Bremen oil being gone, and not a single flying fish yet captured to supply the deficiency, concluding by hinting that his ship was indeed what in the fishery is technically called a clean one, an empty one, well deserving the name of Jungfrau, or the Virgin. His necessities supplied, Derek departed. But he had not gained his ship's side when whales were almost simultaneously raised from the mastheads of both vessels, and so eager for the chase was Derek that without pausing to put his oil can and lamp feeder aboard, he slewed round his boat and made after the Leviathan lamp feeders. Now, the game having risen to leeward, he and the other 3 German boats that soon followed him had considerably the start of the Pequod's heels. There were 8 whales, an average pod. Aware of the danger, they were going all abreast with great speed, straight before the wind, rubbing their flanks as closely as so many spans of horses in harness. They left a great wide wake, though continually unrolling a great wide as though continually unrolling a great wide parchment upon the sea. Full in this rapid wake, and many fathoms in the rear, swam a huge, humped old bull, which, by his comparatively slow progress, as well as by the unusual yellowish incrustations overgrowing him, seemed afflicted as with jaundice, or some other infirmity. Whether this whale belonged to the pod in advance seemed questionable, for it is not customary for such venerable leviathans to be at all social. Nevertheless, he stuck to their wake, though indeed their backwater must have slowed him, because the white bone or swell at his broad muzzle was a dashed one, like the swell formed when two hostile currents meet. His spout was short, slow, and laborious, coming forth with a choking sort of gush, and spending itself in torn shreds, followed by strange subterranean commotions in him, which seemed to have egress at his other buried extremity, causing the waters behind him to upbubble.
"Who's got some, paregoric?" said Stubb. "He has, the stomach ache, I'm afraid, Lord. Think of having half an acre of stomach ache. Adverse winds are having Christmas inside him, boys. It's the first foul wind I ever knew to blow from astern. But look, did ever whale yaw so before? It must be he's lost his tiller."
An overladen Indiaman, bearing down the Hindustan coast with a deckload of frightened horses, careens, berries, rolls, and wallows on her way, so did this old whale heave his aged bulk. And now and then, partly turning over on his cumbrous rib ends, exposed the cause of his devious wake in the unnatural stump of his starboard fin. Whether he had lost that fin in battle, or had been born without it, it was hard to say.
"Oh, only wait a bit, old chap, and I'll give you a sling for that wounded arm,"
cried Cruel Flask, pointing to the white whale lying near him.
"Mind he don't sling thee with it," cried Starbuck. "Give way, or the German'll have him."
With one intent, all the combined rival boats were pointed for this one fish, not because he was the largest, and therefore the most valuable whale, but because he was nearest to them, and the other whales were going with such velocity, moreover, as to almost defy pursuit for the time. At this juncture, the Pequod's keels had shot by the 3 German boats that last lowered, but from the great start he had, Derek's boat still led the chase, though every moment neared by his foreign rivals. The only thing they feared was that from being already so nigh to his mark, he would be enabled to dart iron before they could completely overtake and pass him. As for Derek, he seemed quite confident this would be the case, and occasionally, with a deriding gesture, shook his lamp feeder at the other boats.
"The ungracious and ungrateful dog," cried Starbuck. "He mocks and dares me with the very poor box I filled for him not 5 minutes ago."
Then, in his old intense whisper,
Give way, greyhounds. Dog to it. I tell ye what it is, men,
cried Stubb to his crew.
it's against my religion to get mad, but I'd like to eat that villainous yerman. Paul, won't ye? Are ye gonna let the rascal beat ye? Do we love brandy? A hogshead of brandy, then, to the best man. Come, why don't some of ye burst a blood vessel? Who's that been dropping anchor overboard? We don't budge an inch, we're becalmed. Here's grass growing in the boat's bottom, and by the Lord, the mast there's buddin'. This won't do, boys. Look at that yerman. The short and long of it, men. Will ye spit fire or not?
Oh, see the suds he makes,
cried Flask, dancing up and down.
What a hump! Oh, do pile on the beef, lays like a log. Oh, my lads, do spring slapjacks and quahogs for supper. You know, my lads, baked clams and muffins. Oh, do spring. He's 100-barreler. Don't lose him now. Don't. See that yerman? He won't pull for your duff, my lads. Such a sogger. Don't you love sperm? There goes $3,000, men. A bank, a whole bank, the Bank of England. Oh, do. What's that German about now?
At this moment, Derek was in the act of pitching his lamp feeder at the advancing boats, and also his oil can, perhaps with the double view of retarding his rival's way, and at the same time economically accelerating his own by the momentary impetus of the backward toss. The
unmannerly Dutch dogger,
cried Stubb.
Pull men like 50,000 line a battle shiploads of red-haired devils. What do you say, Tashtego? Are you the man to snap your spine in 22 pieces for the honor of old Gayhead? What do you say?
I say pull like goddamn,
cried the Indian. Fiercely, but evenly incited by the taunts of the German, the Pequod's 3 boats now began ranging almost abreast, and so disposed, momentarily neared him. In that fine, loose, chivalrous attitude of the headsman when drawing near to his prey, the 3 mates stood up proudly, occasionally backing after the oarsman with an exhilarating cry of,
There she slides now! Hurrah for the white ash breeze! Down with the yarman! Sail over him!
But so decided an original start had Derek had that in spite of all their gallantry, he would have proved the victor in the race. Had not a righteous judgment descended upon him in a crab, which caught the blade of his midship oarsman. While this clumsy lubber was striving to free his white ash, and while, in consequence, Derek's boat was nigh to capsizing, and he thundering away at his men in a mighty rage, that was a good time for Starbuck, Stubb, and Flask. And, with a shout, they took a mortal start forward, and slantingly ranged up on the German's quarter. An instant more, and all 4 boats were diagonally in the whale's immediate wake, while stretching before them, on both sides, was the foaming swell that had been made. It was a terrific, most pitiable, and maddening sight. The whale was now going head out and sending his spout before him in a continual, tormented jet, while his one poor fin beat his side in an agony of fright. Now to this hand, now to this hand, now to that he yawed in his faltering flight. and still, at every billow he broke, he spasmodically sank in the sea, or sideways rolled toward the sky, his one beating fin. So have I seen a bird with a clipped wing, making affrighted broken circles in the air, vainly striving to escape the piratical hawks. But the bird has a voice, and with plaintive cries makes known her fear. But the fear of this vast dumb brute of the sea was chained up and enchanted in him. He had no voice, save that choking respiration through his spiracle, and this made the sight of him unspeakably pitiable. While still, in his amazing bulk, portcullis jaw, and omnipotent tail, there was enough to appall the stoutest man, who is so pitied. Seeing now that but a very few moments more would give the Pequod's boats an advantage, and rather than be thus foiled of his game, Derek chose to hazard what to him must have seemed a most unusually long dart, ere the last chance would forever escape. But no sooner did his harpooner stand up for the stroke than all three tigers, Queequeg, Tashtego, Dagu, instinctively sprang to their feet and, standing in a diagonal row, simultaneously pointed their barbs and darted over the head of the German harpooner. Their 3 Nantucket irons entered the whale, blinding vapors of foam and white fire. The 3 boats, in the first fury of the whale's headlong rush, bumped the Germans aside with such force that both Derek and his baffled harpooner were spilled out and sailed over by the 3 flying keels.
"Don't be afraid, my butterboxes,"
cried Stubb, casting a passing glance upon them as he shot by.
"You'll be picked up presently. All right, I saw some sharks astern. St. Bernard's dogs, you know, relieve distressed travelers. Hurrah! This is the best way to sail now. Every keel a sunbeam. Hurrah! Here we go, like 3 tin kettles at the tail of a mad cougar. This puts me in mind of fastening to an elephant in a tilbury on a plain. Makes the wheel spokes fly by, boys, when you fasten to 'em that way. And there's the danger of being pitched out, too, when you strike a hill. Hurrah! This is the way a fellow feels when he's going to Davy Jones. All a rush down an endless inclined plane. Hurrah! This whale carries the everlasting mail."
But the monster's run was a brief one. Giving a sudden gasp, he tumultuously sounded. With a grating rush, the 3 lines flew round the loggerheads with such a force as to gouge deep grooves in them, while so fearful were the harpooneers that this rapid sounding would soon exhaust the lines, that using all their dexterous might, they caught repeated smoking turns with the rope to hold on, till at last, owing to the perpendicular strain from the lead-lined chocks of the boats, whence the 3 ropes went straight down into the blue, the gunwales of the boats were almost even with the water, while the 3 sterns tilted high in the air. And the whale soon ceasing to sound, for some time they remained at that attitude, fearful of expending more line, though the position was a little ticklish. But though boats have been taken down and lost in this way, yet it is the holding on as it is called. This hooking up by the sharp barbs of the live flesh from the back. This it is that often torments the Leviathan into soon rising again to meet the sharp lances of his foes. Yet, not to speak of the peril of the thing, is to be doubted whether this course is always the best. For it is but reasonable to presume that the longer the stricken whale stays under the water, the more he is exhausted. Because, owing to the enormous surface of him, in a full-grown sperm whale, where am I? Sorry, I'm like, this is way harder to do while reading than most of the things we do while reading. Ah, that's a creeper sound. Okay, where is the beds? I really feel like they're supposed to be... Or, I feel like I set up the beds somewhere around here. They're back there. Okay, maybe... There's no ladder on this thing. I really hope nothing can be damaged by fireworks explosions in here. Okay, there we go. Yeah, we're going to take a break for a minute. And post the tipping link, because I'm making a lot of mistakes reading. This is a really challenging chapter, and... we've got a lot going on. Natasha says, you actually have a really good voice and reading to an audiobook. Thanks for this reading. You're welcome. Thank you. But yeah, I'm just struggling a little bit with this particular challenge. We're going to go ahead and offload some of the surplus materials here from Jevon's rail. And we're going to grab some other things as well before we head back down. Okay. But yeah, so this is an interesting chapter. It starts out with a guy who's begging for whale oil and then decides to be a jerk to them, taunt them, throw the whale oil away, and get pitched into the sea. So... yeah. Oh boy. Okay. So let's go ahead and we're going to keep putting these lights and rails in. We're probably going to have to come back with some redstone blocks, but we're making progress. How is this already up to 3 high across the board? Have we run this enough? Okay, we actually need to go run the flying machine. Because, yeah, we've been here long enough that this is all grown. So Jevon said to push the button once. And to never push the button more than once. Okay. Oh no, I'm realizing my inventory is going to be full of rails and glowing things, and then we are not going to actually be able to harvest this. Okay, we're not close enough to that side to pick up some of those. Yeah, this is going all right, I guess. So, ideally, once we get the rail cart thing fully upgraded, then we'll be able to just do this with the rail cart rather than running along ourselves. Okay, so we're going to offload those into there. Is there no auto collection system? It's not set up yet. I was building the auto collection system. But the thing is, since the thing is fully built, also that row there did not collect for some reason. There's something wrong with the middle of the flying machine. We'll have to patch that or fix that. Okay. But yeah, the auto collection system is under production, or under... So it's going to be this, but it's not done. See the mine carts? We need to replace all of these with powered rails. So the idea was to use waterlogged rails, but apparently the water resistance messes with the minecart too much, so they have to be... It has to be all powered rails. You can't just have iron in the middle. So we're adding more powered rails. That's why our inventory was full of powered rails earlier. Bum 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 bum. It's fun how you can only see the entities around you. Just watching those spread out. So this is on like a 5-minute timer. We've got 5 minutes to collect all of these before they despawn. Or as many of these as possible before they despawn. So part of me is like, I want to get back into reading, because this is actually relatively straightforward, simple stuff to do. But I'm realizing that because the time is against us, I really don't want to screw this up. We're going to free up some inventory space here, and then we're going to keep going. It's probably faster to do this. See, the thing is, if I'm out of the water, can I still pick up the stuff that's in the water? Oh, I can. Oh, yeah, I should have been running. Some of the stuff in the water isn't getting picked up. Enough of it is. We need a speed beacon over here, too, probably. Go, speed racer. Go, speed racer. Go, speed racer, go. Da na 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 na. Yeah, this is kind of going okay. Welcome, noob. Glad you could join us. And I'm out of food, so now I'm not running. Yeah, great. Probably should have brought some speed potions. Once we get this rail system in place, we're not going to have half the problems we're having. But rail system's not in place yet. That is so cool looking. I don't like the little wobble from the view bob on the camera when I'm running. I usually use this camera for flying stuff. But I don't like turning view bobbing off. Uh-oh, these ones here have already started to despawn. So we got through half of that thing. And we could have gotten more if we hadn't done the dumb stuff in the water. So that was a mistake on my part. Okay, we're not going to go the whole way now, though. Because we know these are going to start timing out. You can see them timing out all around us. And they have all timed out. Okay, so we're going to head back over here now. And drop these in one of these chests at the end here. And I think I left empty shulkers over here. Oh, no, I didn't. Oh, boy. Well, we can come and get this later. Let's grab our surplus rails out of whichever of these chests we put them in. Okay. Yep, so we're going to need to get this rail system set up at some point. I think it goes this way first, so in some ways I'd like to just set up this going that way. Dang it. Yep, okay. So we're kind of canceling out some of the darkness over there. Okay. Do we care about having these lights aligned? Probably not too much, but it would be nice. You know, this is something we're building to say thank you to Jevin for hooking us up, so it'd be probably good if it didn't look like garbage. Jev, I appreciate you, just not enough to pay attention to detail. That doesn't really have the right vibe to it, I feel. Definitely gonna have to go buy some more redstone blocks from Tango 2 before we come back with more stuff in general. Does sugarcane grow faster if it's lit at night? I don't know. I mean, normally people wouldn't be over here in the dark too much anyway, because this is a dangerous farm to be in the dark. But, I mean, in theory it could happen. Okay, there's the bed. If you click the What We're Reading link, you'll jump to Chapter 81 of Moby Dick, or The Whale by Herman Melville. That explains what's happening. Do I want to harvest that one row manually? Maybe. It's not a high priority for me right now. I'd like to just fix the machine, ideally, and I can't tell if the machine is fixed if we don't have anything for it to harvest. But I haven't even gone to look at it yet. Etho, getting a lot of cores. Good for him. Building that core strength. Okay, so 1, 2, 3. 3. This is probably the fastest way to make sure these actually line up, is just to go straight across. And then come back later and do the actual track laying. Yep, Etho finally getting his heavy cores. He just had to dream it. Okay. Yep. So it looks like Jev actually did start putting in all gold rails on part of this. Or is this part that I did? I feel like if I had did this part, I would have lit it up better. So that wasn't me. Okay. 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 Could I do this part while reading? Maybe. I think we found a simpler enough task here for me. Where I'm just kind of zigzagging back and forth and putting in these. That seems like that might be feasible. Okay. Let's see. Just as a side note, we've been going for about 60, 70, 80 minutes now. And we are still $5 away from our first face camera expansion of the stream. Tips are welcome via paypal.me/JoeHills and YouTube Super Chat. Welcome, Lizzie Mac 2010. Hope you're doing well. We were in the middle of chapter 81 of Moby Dick or the Whale by Herman Melville. And I took a quick reading break because it's a particularly challenging chapter. And I'm also doing a particularly challenging task in Minecraft that I am realizing maybe was not the best choice for this stream, but it has to get done, and I'm streaming now, so we're doing it. Okay. I don't want to break the parts that Jevin already just filled in. So we're going to go ahead and, like, if Jevin already put gold rails on some of these, we're going to put the gold rails on those. Dang it. But we also do need to start getting these lights in, or we're going to have a bad time. Like, people need to be able to be over here at night. Okay. So it looks like there's also some gaps in here that need to be filled in too. Yeah, okay. Okay, this is happening. Okay. So let's go ahead and continue with Chapter 81 of Moby Dick or the Whale by Herman Melville, in which they meet a German ship that has attempted to borrow whale oil from them and then out-hunt them, and they would have no part of it. Okay, is this missing stuff over here? No, we got that part done. So we're going to continue this way. Okay, so let's go find a good line to get working on. Looks like here is suitable, and we can resume our reading. So the whale has 3 harpoons in him and has dived. The boats can barely hang on. But they're going to try and wait it out. Why? Because, owing to the enormous surface of him, in a full-grown sperm whale, something less than 2,000 square feet, the pressure of the water is immense. We all know what an astonishing atmospheric weight we ourselves stand up under, even here, above ground, in the air. How vast, then, does the burden of a whale bearing on his back a column of 200 fathoms in the ocean? It must be at least equal to the weight of 50 atmospheres. One whaleman has estimated it at the weight of 20 line-of-battle ships, with all their guns, stores, and men on board. As the 3 boats lay there on the gently rolling sea, gazing down into its eternal blue noon, and not a single groan or cry, nay, not so much as a ripple or a bubble, came up from its depths, what landsman would have thought that beneath all that silence and placidity, the utmost monster of the seas was writhing and wrenching in agony? Not 8 inches of perpendicular rope were visible at the bows. Seems it credible that by such 3 thin threads the great Leviathan was suspended like a big weight to an 8-day clock. Suspended? And to what? To 3 big bits of board. Is this the creature of whom it was once so triumphantly said, "Canst thou fill his skin with barbed irons, or his head with fish spears? The sword of him that layeth at him cannot hold the spear, the dart, nor the habergeon. He esteemeth iron as straw. The arrow cannot make him flee. Darts are counted as stubble. He laugheth at the shaking of a spear." This the creature? This he? Oh, that unfulfillment should follow the prophets, for with the strength of 1,000 thighs in his tail, Leviathan had run his head under the mountains of the sea to hide from the Pequod's fish spears. In that sloping afternoon sunlight, the shadows that the 3 boats sent down beneath the surface must have been long enough and broad enough to shade half Xerxes' army. Who can tell how appalling to the wounded whale must have been such huge phantoms flitting over his head?
Stand by, men. He stirs,
cried Starbuck, as the 3 lines suddenly vibrated in the water, distinctly conducting upwards to them, as by magnetic wires, the life and death throbs of the whale, so that every oarsman felt them in his seat. The next moment, relieved in great part from the downward strain at the bows, The boats gave a sudden bounce upwards, as a small ice field will when a dense herd of white bears are scared from it into the sea.
Haul in! Haul in!
Cried Starbuck again.
He's rising!
The lines of which hardly an instant before not one hand's breadth could have been gained, were now in long, quick coils flung back, all dripping into the boats. And soon the whale broke water within 2 ships' lengths of the hunters. His motions plainly denoted his extreme exhaustion. In most land animals, there are certain valves or floodgates in many of their veins, whereby, when wounded, the blood is in some degree at least instantly shut off in certain directions. Not so with the whale, one of whose peculiarities is to have an entire non-valvular structure of the blood vessels, so that when pierced even by so small a point as a harpoon, a deadly drain is at once begun upon his whole arterial system. And when this is heightened by the extraordinary pressure of water at a great distance below the surface, his life may be said to pour out from him in incessant streams. Yet, so vast is the quantity of blood in him, and so distant and numerous its interior fountains, that he will keep thus bleeding and bleeding for a considerable period, even as in a drought a river will flow whose source is in the well springs of a far off and indiscernible hills. Even now, when the boats pulled upon this whale and perilously drew over his swaying flukes, and the lances were darted into him, they were followed by steady jets from the new-made wound, which kept continuously playing, while the natural spout-hole in his head was only at intervals, however rapid, sending its affrighted moisture into the air. From this last vent no blood yet came, because no vital part of him had thus been struck. His life, as they significantly call it, was untouched. As the boats now more closely surrounded him, the whole upper part of his form, with much of it that is ordinarily submerged, was plainly revealed. His eyes, or rather the places where his eyes had been, were beheld, as strange misgrown masses gather in the knotholes of the noblest oaks when prostrate, so from the points which the whale's eyes had once occupied now protruded blind bulbs, horribly pitiable to see. But pity there was none. For all his old age and his one arm and his blind eyes, he must die the death and be murdered in order to light the gay bridals and other merry makings of men, and also to illuminate the solemn churches that preach unconditional inoffensiveness to all, by all. Still roiling in his blood, at last he partially disclosed a strangely discolored bunch or protuberance, the size of a bushel, low down on the flank.
"A nice spot!" cried Flask. "Just let me prick him there once."
"Avast!" cried Starbuck. "There's no need of that."
But humane Starbuck was too late. At the instant of the dart, an ulcerous jet shot from the cruel wound, And goaded by it into more than sufferable anguish, the whale, now spouting thick blood, with swift fury blindly darted at the craft, bespattering them and their glorifying crews all over with showers of gore, capsizing Flask's boat and marring the bows. Blech. I don't know why I keep saying that. It was his death stroke. For by this time, so spent was he by loss of blood that he helplessly rolled away from the wreck he had made, lay panting on his side, impotently flapping around with his stumped fin, then over and over slowly revolved like a waning world, turned up the white secrets of his belly, laying like a log, and then died. It was most piteous, that last expiring spout, and when by unseen hands the water is gradually drawn off by some mighty fountain, and with half-stifled melancholy gurglings, the spray column lowers and lowers to the ground, so the last long dying spout of the whale. Soon, while the crews were awaiting the arrival of the ship, the body showed symptoms of sinking, with all its treasures unrifled. Immediately, by Starbuck's orders, lines were secured to it at different points, so that ere long every boat was a buoy, the sunken whale being suspended a few inches beneath them by the cords. By very heedful management, when the ship drew nigh, the whale was transferred to her side, and was strongly secured there by the stiffest fluke chains, for it was plain that unless artificially upheld, the body would at once sink to the bottom. It so chanced that upon first cutting into him with the spade, the entire length of a corroded harpoon was found embedded in his flesh, on the lower part of the bunch before described. But as the stumps of harpoons are frequently found in the dead bodies of captured whales, with the flesh perfectly healed around them, and no prominence of any kind to denote their place, therefore there must needs have been some other unknown reason in the present case fully to account for the ulceration alluded to. But still more curious was the fact of a lance head of stone being found in him, not far from the buried iron, the flesh perfectly firm about it. Who had darted that stone lance? And when? It might have been darted by some Norwest native long before America was discovered. What other marvels might have been rummaged out of this monstrous cabinet? There is no telling. But a sudden stop was put to further discoveries by the ship being unprecedentedly dragged over sideways into the sea, owing to the body's immense increasing tendency to sink. However, Starbuck, who had the ordering of affairs, hung on to it till the last. Hung on to it so resolutely indeed, that when at length the ship would have been capsized, if still persisting in locking arms with the body, then, when the command was given to break clear from it, such was the immovable strain upon the timber-heads to which the fluke chains and the cables were fastened, that it was impossible to cast them off. Meantime, everything in the Pequod was aslant. Uh-oh, sun's setting. Let's take a quick break. So it seems they go through all this trouble to kill this whale, and now they can't even secure it to the ship to harvest the oil. Doesn't seem good. Welcome, Tenuous Rook. Thank you, Zero, for the raid. We are reading Moby Dick while we do monotonous tasks in Minecraft. This is a grind and read stream. So, oh, I forgot to take the setting up now sign down. Yeah, we'll take that down. And I forgot to punch a tree to collect wood. But that's fine. We can do that anytime, really. No rush. Okay. So what we're doing right now is we are working on getting proper lighting in this farm here, as well as proper rails. We don't have this set up properly, and it is something that I would like to get fixed. Our friend Jevin built this initially and had plans to upgrade it and said I could use it. And so my idea of using it is to fix all the stuff that we want to fix so that Jevin can come back and it's nice and like lit up at night and the rails are all golden. Because when Jev built this, he didn't realize that there was going to be problems with the rails not being powered. He thought he could get by with rails that were powered at the same distance as an above ground thing. Not the case, unfortunately. So we are fixing that. Let's also look at... Okay, so here's some places where we don't have the lights in yet. Boom, 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 boom. Okay, it looks like we kind of get that going through the end of there. So this is coming along. This is probably more lights than we technically need, but I think it looks better with more lights than we technically need. Okay. Anybody have any thoughts on the chapter of Moby Dick so far? It's been pretty quiet in the chat. Sorry if this is... I feel like this is a little bit more distracting and halting a reading because I'm just trying to do something a little bit harder in-game than I'm used to. Which, on the one hand, if I never push myself, I'll never kind of know where my limits are. But on the other hand, I hate to make that your problem. Wandering Mouse says, this is a chapter where Melville's enthusiasm is a lot more sincerely endearing to me. So maybe that's weird. Interesting. Local says you're doing great. Thank you, Local. Appreciate the kind words. Oops. Let's break that. Oh boy, the what do you call it, is almost fully grown again. The whole field of the harvest field is almost grown again here. Yeah, that's about 3 high almost across the board. Might be time to send the flying machine through again. I did want to get these lights back in first, but just so we don't have trouble with that later. Welcome, Trash Panda. Glad you could join us. We are reading Moby Dick tonight. And we are out of frog lights for the time being. So we should probably run back and grab more of those. Presumably after we... Dang it. Yeah, I've got to be careful with the pick when I'm collecting the rails is the other thing. And we're one... Oh, actually, we're a few lamps short over here. Okay, we're making some progress. Okay. Let's go ahead and grab more lights, and then we'll come back. Although, kind of seems like what we want to do is run the harvest first. I'm just thinking this through from a process standpoint. I think I'm going to try and run the flying machine and do the harvest this time while I read. Okay. So basically, they can't unchain the whale, and the whale is sinking, and it's pulling the whole ship over. So let's get back to it. Meantime, everything in the Pequod was aslant. To cross to the other side of the deck was like walking up the steep gabled roof of a house. The ship groaned and gasped. Many of the ivory inlaying of her bulwarks and cabins were started from their places by the unnatural dislocation. In vain, handspikes and crows, like crowbars, were brought to the bear upon the immovable fluke chains to pry them adrift from the timberheads, and so low had the whale now settled that the submerged ends could not at all be approached, while every moment whole tons of ponderosity seemed adding to the sinking bulk, and the ship seemed on the point of going over.
Hold on, won't ye? Cried Stubb to the body. Don't be in such of a devil of a hurry to sink. By thunder, men, we must do something or go for it. No use prying there. Avast, I say, with your handspikes, and run one of ye for a prayer book and a penknife, and cut the big chains.
Knife! Aye, aye!
Cried Queequeg. Seizing the carpenter's heavy hatchet, he leaned out of a porthole, and, steel to iron, began slashing at the largest fluke chains. But a few strokes, full of sparks, were given, when the exceeding strain affected the rest. With a terrific snap, every fastening went adrift, the ship righted, and the carcass sank. Now this occasional inevitable sinking of a recently killed sperm whale is a very curious thing. Nor has any fisherman yet adequately explained it. Usually, the dead sperm whale floats with great buoyancy, with its side or belly considerably elevated above the surface. If the only whales that sank were old, meager, and broken-hearted creatures, their pads of lard diminished, and all their bones heavy and rheumatic, then you might with some reason assert that this sinking is caused by an uncommon specific gravity in the fish so sinking, consequent upon this absence of buoyant matter in him. But it is not so, for young whales, in the highest health and swelling with noble aspirations, prematurely cut off in the warm flush and May of life, with all their panting lard about them, even these brawny, buoyant heroes do sometimes sink. Be it said, however, that the sperm whale is far less likely to this accident than any other species. Where one of that sort may go down, 20 right whales do. This difference in the species is no doubt imputable to no small degree to the greater quantity of bone in the right whale, his Venetian blinds alone sometimes weighing more than a ton. From this encumbrance, the sperm whale is wholly free. But there are instances where, after the lapse of many hours or several days, The sunken whale again arises, more buoyant than in life. But the reason of this is obvious. Gases are generated in him. He swells to a prodigious magnitude, becomes a sort of animal balloon. A line of battleship could hardly keep under him then. In the shore whaling, on soundings among the bays of New Zealand, when a right whale gives token of sinking, they fasten buoys to him with plenty of rope, so that when the body has gone down, they know where to look for it when it shall have ascended again. It was not long after the sinking of the body that a cry was heard from the Pequod's mastheads, announcing that the young Frau was again lowering her boats. Though the only spout in sight was that of a finback, belonging to the species of uncapturable whales, because of its incredible power of swimming. Nevertheless, the finback's spout is so similar to the sperm whale's that by unskillful fishermen it is often mistaken for it, and consequently Derek and his host were now in valiant chase of this unnearable brute. The Virgin crowding all sail, made after her 4 young keels, and thus they disappeared far to leeward, still in bold, hopeful chase. Oh, many are the finbacks, and many are the Derricks, my friend. And that concludes Chapter 81 of Moby Dick, or The Whale, by Herman Melville. So, a lot of effort, no real payoff. I wonder if that's a recurring theme in the story. The death description of the whale was very vivid. Yeah, that's true, Wandering Mask. This is not a this is not a story for the faint of heart, it seems. Okay, so while we're here, we want to grab more frog lights. Yeah, that should be enough, I'm hoping. And can we drop off? Did we leave any? We don't have a good place for these. Let's grab some extra barrels for me to load this stuff into, or chests. Yeah. Okay. Pepper Basenji says, I was wondering if the whale lost its fin to that old harpoon. Yeah, it might have lost it in the same fight that caused that. Wandering Mask says, I feel like parts of that chapter illustrated that Melville is actually good at writing a story in between Wikipedia articles. Yeah, you're not wrong. Although I will say, like, the guy throwing the oil can back at them is very, like, Venture Brothers henchman throwing the empty gun. It's just like, what are you... What? Don't do that. Why? Why would you think that that would help? But yeah, I don't know. Okay, so let's go ahead and we're going to put down this barrel over here. And we're going to yeet these into there for now to free up some inventory space. And then we're going to barrel. Uh-oh, those are starting to despawn. We need to get them before they go. Okay, yeah, so without the rails in place, this is not harvest. Like, one person can't harvest this entire field. This is too large a field. Without a speed beacon, without a speed beacon, you're gonna have trubs, or without the rails going. So let's see if we can get these rails fully operational. That would be a real boon for not only Jevin, but also ourselves. Wandering Mask says, and then the jerk who managed to run out of oil on an oil ship kept chasing the wrong type of whale, like a rube. Yeah, there's probably a good reason his ship was out of whale oil. Turns out he's just incompetent. Okay. I think I'm going to be... Let's see, we're at the 2-hour mark. I knew that was going to be a long chapter. I'm going to at least fill in the holes we already made here before we wrap up the stream. But, yeah. We started this stream $5 away from our first face camera expansion of the stream, and we are still there. So if anybody out there enjoyed this at all and would like to help support the arts and my work in particular, tips are welcome via paypal.me/JoeHills and YouTube Super Chat. Okay. Once again, though, I realized that was not my best reading, so, you know, I get it. It was way too halting. I was, like, really... This was a task that I thought was simple enough to do while reading, and I might have bitten off more than I could chew on that. I can admit that. Okay. So let's see here. So then we're going to come over here and we're going to break these. Howdy, Ken Dreadful. Whoops. Oh, we should have also stopped by Tango's shop and bought more redstone blocks while we were out. That was an oversight. No. Okay, let's get rid of this. Let's put that in there. It's like we are not optimized from an inventory management standpoint here either. We're doing a lot of things suboptimally today. Trying to clean this up as we go. Oh wait, that one was already fine. Okay. It's coming along. I mean, we've got half of it lit, which is not perfect, but it's better than it could be. Better than it was. Okay. What are we doing here? Okay, yeah. So we're gonna cut this across that way. Frog lights stop mobs from spawning. We're placing them a little bit more often than we have to, but I think they look better that way. And then also, if we have to remove some of them for some reason, then we have better coverage in the first place. Okay. Should have done this right in the first place. The problem was initially we were just trying to frantically get frog lights in so that mobs didn't spawn. And I wasn't paying too much attention to alignment, and now I'm paying for that. Hypnotize says, find a tree. Punch it to collect wood. Yeah, I know. There's no trees here. We're in the middle of the ocean, Hypno. Nearest trees are way the hell out in Pearl, so... Oh, well. Oh, we should greet Scar. And also slash chords hide. Welcome back, Scar. Scar loves it if you don't greet him, because he knows that means he can sneak up on you and kill you. He left the game. Could I offhand the frog lights so I don't keep swapping? Maybe. I kind of feel like I'm better off just trying to power through removing and then placing separately. I don't know. It might be better if I was to do tap, 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 and then offhand place it. Welcome, Thomas Logic Raiders. My name is Joe Hills. I'm broadcasting live from Nashville, Tennessee. We just finished reading Chapter 81 of Moby Dick or the Whale by Herman Melville, where we met the least competent ship's captain in the novel so far. And there's a lot of not very competent ship's captains in this novel. Yeah, I'm spending a lot of time navigating, just moving back and forth here. So yeah, maybe it would have been better to offhand these and do that as part of the same process. Okay, so we're going to go find a place to lay our heads down and dream up here. Let's look down real quick. Yep, so that's how much of that... Whoops. That's how much of that still isn't lit. A good portion of it. Not great. Okay, so yeah, let's try this with the other process. So, whoops, we need to put that in our first slot. Gonna eat some bread. Okay, break, break, place, break, break, place, break, break, place, break, break, place. This is going well. That overdid it. Break, break, place. Break, break, place. Break, break, place. Okay, now we're getting in a rhythm. So it's like break, break, place, jump. Break, break, place. And that was too much. Atomic Logic says, I enjoy getting to catch your stream during my work week. I listen to it while I work. Awesome. I'm always happy to help people getting stuff done feel like they're you know, they got something to keep them sane. Like, I used to listen to the radio a lot when I was working. Okay. Here we go. So this goes in our offhand. Break, break, place. Place. Blah. Did Etho give me the frog lights? Etho sold me the frog lights. We bartered. I've given him like 2 million stone, and he's given me unlimited frog lights, basically. Okay, so this is going to be a problem here, because these redstone blocks are all aligned where we would normally put our frog lights. I guess we could technically just skip that one, and that would still be enough coverage. So yeah, let's just skip that one for now. £2 million stone of what? How much is that in pounds? That's 28 million pounds, Mr. Hardluck. Okay, so then we can come over this way. Let's get these into our offhand. We are definitely running low on these faster than I was hoping to. Oh, boy. It might be easier in some ways if I just do this entire column or row and then use that to target the rest. Dang it. Okay, so now, oh, we're going to take that off our offhand. Now we can fill the rest of this back in here. Dun, 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 dun. Hey, we got a tip rolling in. Let's go check out who that's from once we reach the end of this segment here. Looks like we have done that. Oh, missed one. There it is. Looks like we got a tip. Whoop, I clicked the wrong thing. Undo. Don't do that. There we go. Fixed it. Okay. Thank you very much to Wandering Mask for tipping 5. That gets us evenly to our next face camera expansion milestone. Please direct your attention down here to the lower left because I'm about to expand. And we are going to lower the... Oh, wait. We don't lower the opacity because we're still only... Yeah, we're still a ways from the entrance of the Joust. 20 away from the next expansion milestone. 40 from the entrance of the Joust. Wandering Mask says, thanks for the reading tonight. The stream really helped turn my evening around. Glad to help in some small way. Wandering Mask. You're obviously responsible, for your own emotions. But I found sometimes, when things are going in a challenging way, it's easier to turn those around if you got other folks around. And if you can't have other folks around, sometimes just hopping on a stream or whatnot can help too. So, You're doing the hard work. I'm just hanging out. So, good for you, Wanderer Mask. Pepper Basinji says, thanks for answering about the frog lights. I know a lot of the hermits have been chipping in supplies toward the TCG game. Honestly, they've been chipping in the supplies I don't have. I have so many frog lights, I don't really need to ask. And Etho owes them to me anyway. But yeah, that's the situation there. Wandering Mass says, absolutely. The pleasant company of Hermit Streams has been an absolute boon since I was lucky to be introduced to y'all. I'm so glad. You know, the world is tough, and we just do our best to make it a little bit easier to ride out. But y'all are the ones out there going to work, dealing with your struggles. Yeah, we're happy to help in small ways, but y'all are the ones getting things done. So, y'all deserve credit too. Whoops. Etho's in frog debt. He's got a little bit of light debt to worry about. Happy to help, Wanderer Mask. Always happy to help. Boom, boom. So did anybody here catch the Kingdom 2 Crowns stream earlier today? That was a lot of fun. I'd love to hear if y'all had any thoughts on maybe what I could do to make sure that the game is understandable or followable. We were trying to kind of explain things as we went, but we've both played that game so much that I don't know we did a good job of approaching it from a new player's perspective. Okay, so that gets us back to the beginning here. Moonroses says, only got to catch a little bit because I was at work. You know, that's fair. I guess a lot of people who are available to watch it this time aren't necessarily available to watch then. Wanderer Mass says, I played the game once a while ago and had a good time with it, but sputtered out after a while. I think I didn't bring enough resources the first time I went to a new island and had trouble recovering. Yeah, that is the sort of thing that can be a challenge to recover from if you're not an experienced player. It is doable, and they've made the game more forgiving if you screw that up in, like, past updates, but, yeah, it is a real challenge if you screw that up to recover. Ken Dreadful says, I watched a bit earlier, was excited to see you collab with Joker. It's relatively easy to understand the game just from watching people play, in my opinion. Glad to hear it. That's what I was hoping. Yeah. That's one of those things. Like, yeah, it's the sort of game like if you never played it before, you can make some mistakes, and it's challenged to recover. But like once you get into it, it's pretty good. Okay, so we are out of frog lights again, but we have a lot of frog tokens. So I think we're gonna head over to Ethos. Real quick, it looks like we've got a tip rolling in. Let's see who it is from. Thank you very much to Elisa. I just mentioned that we were $40 away from the entrance of the Joust, and Elisa's just like, boom, $50. Thank you very much, Elisa, who says, thanks for sharing your creativity, your art, and your peace. I do what I can. Let's get you those 2 face camera expansions. Here we go. Expand Joe. Do. And then, for that second expansion, y'all have seen that money go straight to my head. But now, like Jacob Marley, these chains I forged in life are about to begin pulling me down to the deep below. Enter the Joust. Ba, 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 ba. Why isn't it actually adjusting? Ba, 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 ba. Lowering the Joe Pasty now to 90%. Thank you so much to Elisa for that generous tip. If anybody else would like to tip, we are only $10 away from the next expansion milestone. Tips are welcome via paypal.me/JoeHills and YouTube Super Chat. Hey, Andrew Webb, just popping in and asking, what game are we talking about? We are talking about Kingdom 2 Crowns, The Call of Olympus. Joker, who I haven't really... I've done a few charity events with Joker before, but we hadn't really got to hang out one-on-one. We did our first duo stream today, collabing the game... It's a game by Raw Fury called Kingdom 2 Crowns. And they just came out with a Greek DLC. I first saw this game at PAX years ago when it first launched. Back when it was just Kingdom. It wasn't even multiplayer yet. And I played the demo and I loved it. And I play it on airplanes, a lot on my laptop. I play it with my kid on the Switch, on the TV, couch, co-op. But I've never streamed it. Because I wasn't sure if it would be a good game to stream solo. And nobody I talked to about streaming it ever wanted to do it. And so when Joker was like, I don't know if you've heard of this game, Kingdom 2 Crowns, but I'd love to find somebody to stream it with. And I'm like, yes. And he's like, do you know how to play? And I'm like, I probably have more hours of this than any other game that I don't stream, except for maybe like Dwarf Fortress and NetHack. Like, I have so many hours of Kingdom. I really like this game, but I haven't gotten really into the new DLC yet, and so we could play the new, like, I played it with my daughter a little bit, but not enough to, like, feel like I had cracked it, So I was like, we could bust open the new DLC, and play that plenty. So we got about 3.5 hour stream in of that earlier today, and it was a great time. I really enjoyed it, and we're going to try and figure out, we had to go consult, we talked afterwards and it was like, okay, I got to look at my schedule. You look at your schedule. We'll try and find a time. But, we got Thanksgiving and Christmas coming up. So this was just kind of a planned as a, hey, the first chance we get, let's try this. And then if we have fun and everybody seems to like it, we're going to try and get it like as a scheduled regular thing. Or at least like until we beat the game, which, let's see, we got through 4 islands in 3 hours. And there's 9 islands. So it would probably take us like 3 or 4 sessions to beat the game. But it was a lot of fun. I really liked it. And I hope you all did too. That's why I'm just getting a little bit of feedback about, like, we're definitely playing again. The question is, like, did we do a good enough job of explaining the mechanics and stuff like that? Okay, let's see. We got some comments on that back in the Discord. From Drew Baca. Drew Baca says, not gonna lie, I had zero idea what was happening for the first 3/4 of the stream, but it was so calm and chill it didn't really matter. That's fair. And, yeah, we really did not explain anything. I realized as we were playing it, I was like, because, like, we had both played the game so many times, we didn't need to explain the game to each other. Like, that's why sometimes it's better to play a game with one person who really knows it and one person who's new to it, so that you have an excuse to talk about, like, oh, so why are we doing this? Why are we doing that? Whereas we were just like, go, go, go. Throw money at the problem. Centauratron says, I caught the first hour and a half or so, picked up quite a bit from watching. I think I generally found the gameplay understimulating. Personal problems, nothing against the game reel. That's fair. It is the sort of game where, like, a lot of it is kind of about your mental model of what you're doing and what the penalties are for screwing up. It's a resource management game, but it's not necessarily obvious to the viewers what resources we're managing, I think. So we've got to be aware of that and thoughtful about how we present that. But yeah, no, thank you for the feedback, Centauratron. Okay, so we're going to put some of that in this wool box here. Whoops. Oh, no. Oh, no. I am not supposed to break Etho's redstone. He very specifically said, don't break blocks near the machine that gives you the frog lights. Andrew Webb says, I mostly only watch Minecraft because proximity chat helps me understand who's talking. Yeah, the Mr. Joker stream was just me and Mr. Joker. So, and I think we had different enough voices that hopefully people could follow it. But yeah. I like that there's an ender chest there. That's cool. Good job, Etho. Okay. Oh, that's why Scar keeps logging in and out. He's trying to get the Vanilla Tweaks pumpkin head remover to work. Okay, yeah. I don't even bother installing that because I don't wear the pumpkin hats very often. Okay. Bum, bum, bum. And cool. Good collecting, everybody. Good collecting. Maple J raiding with a party of 2. Welcome, raiders. Hope you're having a fantastic evening. What you get up to, Maple J? We are heading out there to yonder farm in order to... Oh, wait. You know what? While we're over here, I forgot. I said I was going to go harvest or buy redstone from Tango. Let's do that as well. You're playing Portal. Ooh. I like that one. That's the one that's like, this is a triumph. You used a neat gun to make a hole that was blue and connected to a more oranger hole. Then you jumped into it and you came out again and you jumped from higher and away you went. That one? Yeah, that one's a fun game. 7 diamonds to buy redstone. Well, we need redstone blocks more than we need diamonds at this point. Yeah, I like that one. Good game. Did I leave my wallet somewhere? Oh, no, I've only got 5 diamonds on me. Boo. Yeah, we need redstone blocks, but we didn't bring... Where did I leave my wallet? Did I leave it at the gaming district? Did we make any sales that I can turn into diamonds real quick? Let's go check on our other shops. Drew Baca says, I enjoyed the stream and might actually pick up the game. It looked really fun. Yeah, it's one of my favorite games to play on airplanes. Because I played it when I flew back from PAX one time. The first time I ever saw it. And then, like, I'll get on a plane and I'll be like, I don't have the internet. What do I want to do? And I'll be like, oh, why don't I play Kingdom? Whoa! We sold some blocks of glass. Okay, we need to write that down, but we don't have the book that we write things down. Okay, so 27 black glass diamonds we need to remember for next time at some point. Oh no, I messed up and I missed the bed by the portal. Hopefully a creeper does not fall on us while we're here. Yeah, we did it. Okay. Bum ba dum bum bum. Bum 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 ba dum bum ba dum bum bum. Ba bum bum bum. 27 black glass diamonds. Thank you, Drubaka, for writing that down for me. I'm gonna pin that. Pin it. Do 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 do. Pin it. Have a good night, local. I'm just trying to leave Jevon's place better than I found it, because we kind of ripped up half of it and we haven't replaced that yet. So whoops. So we're gonna take these 64 blocks of redstone, which we needed anyway for this project. Boom, boom, boom. Destroy the tree. Dance your cares away. Crafting's for another day. Let the music play. Down in Fraggle Rock. Bum ba dum bum bum. Here we are, born to be kings. We're the princes of the universe. Here we belong, fighting for survival. Okay, so the plan is to frantically, and I mean like frantically, because I don't need to be up super late tonight. It is at least not a school night. It is so much not a school night that my kid doesn't have school until Tuesday. So yeah, good job on the victory in Europe, everybody. Although it's not VE Day yet. Bum, ba, bum, bum, bum. Yeah, I was explaining to, so, you know, B-Dubs runs a court on the server. I might turn up Badger's mic for this unless you frantically don't want me to.
Okay.
So I was, somebody made a joke like, oh, B-Dubs, you know, maybe you could, whenever we have Mumbo's trial, you could cram this in as like an intermission in the middle of the other case. I'm like, and B-Dubs is like, I don't think judges just do like an intermission in the middle of a case, but that would be funny. And I was like, oh, B-Dubs, let me tell you about the vehicular manslaughter case that our wedding interrupted. And he's just like, wait, what? And like, I told the whole story, and he's just like, what? That's amazing. I could do that.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm like, yes, you can.
Let's just marry, you know.
Yeah, I was like,
horses or something.
Yeah, no, I was like, if somebody has some horses or something they want to breed, but we want to make sure they're married first, you know, if we could have them bring them in the intermission.
Yeah, it really was so surreal though.
Yeah.
Just like, oh yeah, being ushered into a court quietly, like, hi, just sit at the back, and then we sat down, and it was like, So I was driving down this road, la 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 la, and blah,
Yeah, I
blah.
was going
And it's
35
like-
miles per hour. It was 11:30 at night,
Yeah.
and when I noticed headlights behind me, and like the guy's giving his testimony, and
we were,
he
like, there were 2 wedding parties. Like,
there were
one
2
on
wedding
each
parties
side
with
of
like
the
they had like
court.
25 people, and we had like 35 people.
Yeah.
So there were like 60 people in there.
Just walking in while this guy was like,
Yeah, trying to describe like the worst night of his life. And it's like,
Yeah.
oh, I felt terrible for him. But like,
Yeah.
I was also like, but I'm getting married.
but the judge was awesome.
The judge was awesome.
Yeah, she was cool. I enjoyed that. But yeah, it was so surreal sitting there going, I'm so happy. Oh, what?
Yeah, it's like, this is
What's
something.
going on here? Oh, it's a real court. Okay.
Yeah, this is a real court where people have
Yeah.
cases.
Wow.
But yeah. So I did impart that to B-Dubs, and he was very excited. I don't know what direction he's going to go with this, but he was just like, oh, it would be really funny to do an intermission in the court, but like, fit another case in there. But like, I feel like nobody would.
Maybe Zedaf and ... should get married in it. They're engaged. There you go.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't know that they would go for that. It's like because I'm gonna say
No,
like
I know.
I wouldn't go for that.
No.
Like to me, being married is like legitimately like a really important choice that I made that I don't, and like even with the immigration stuff.
Yeah,
I
we had to make sure it was
I don't
fully
wanna-
legit all the way.
Yeah, I don't want to seem like I'm making fun of or not getting married for real, But like even if it wasn't for that, like the idea of doing a wedding in Minecraft, it's like we could do a party in Minecraft celebrating us getting married, but I wouldn't want to do a ceremony like that.
Yeah, no, that'd
It
be
feels
a
like
bit
it would
weird.
undermine the I don't know, the seriousness that with which I take it. It's like anything worth doing is worth overdoing. And like
Yeah.
anything I'm serious about, I'm far too serious about. It's kind of
Yeah, no, I can confirm that.
Yeah.
Yep. Love it.
Yeah. So anyway, I'll turn your mic back down, but I just wanted to share that with you. Okay. It is really nice having Badger in the studio. Dun 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 dun. We are so close to being finished with this that it's like driving me nuts because I'm like I know that this is another 40 minutes worth of work and I can't spend another 40 minutes on it. But I do want to see how far I can get. It is now 11 o'clock. I do want to see how far I can get in the next 5 to 10 minutes. So we're going to do last call for tips. And then we're going to wait to see if any tips roll in. Tips are welcome via paypal.me/JoeHills and YouTube Super Chat. I really want to leave this place better than when I found it. And right now it is not. Right now we have ripped up half of this and not rebuilt it all. And that's going to seem super disrespectful if Jevin swings by to check on this place and he's what happened to my rails. Joe. That's not cool, Don't I live in Tennessee? I do live in Tennessee. Badger has a British accent because Badger immigrated to America to so we could live together. Isn't it midnight?
Nashville's in America.
Well, your mic isn't on, but
Nashville's in America.
but Adam Fest says, isn't it midnight in Tennessee? Maybe in East Tennessee, which is in the Eastern time zone. But I live in the grandest of the grand divisions of the state, Middle Tennessee. So we're on Central time, because Central means middle.
Yeah.
So I don't know, buy a globe. So we're going to get as much of this redstone properly set up as we can. And I'm going to turn Badger's mic back down because it's all clicking. Click, click. Bum, bum. Bum, 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 bum. Dun, 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 dun. Bum, 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 bum. I don't live in West Tennessee, Adam Fess. I live in Middle Tennessee. I literally just described this to you. I explained that I live in Middle Tennessee, which is the grandest of the 3 grand divisions. West Tennessee and East Tennessee are distinct grand divisions from Middle Tennessee. I would get laughed at if I claimed Nashville was in West Tennessee. That is the silliest thing that anyone could possibly say. And I know this is ostensibly some level of a comedy stream, but we don't joke about that here. Uh-oh. Are those... Yeah, good, more rails. Good, good, good. Okay, so we're gonna go and throw these in, and let's toss some of these in here. Uh-oh, we're getting into monster time. Monster spawner. Because we still didn't actually get all of the lights in over here yet, did we? Nope. Uh-oh. Run, 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 run. Run, run, run away. Bum, 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 bum. Bum, 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 bum. Yeah, Alex, I probably missed a lot of rails. We'll worry about those as we go. We're just trying to, if it looks like this is a work in progress rather than just something that I vandalized, that would be great. We're going for, this isn't vandalism, it's intentionalism. Okay. Okay. Because Jevin had already converted some of these over to the new train tracks. And so we're fixing those first. Sometimes Jevin logs on super early in the morning. Like, he doesn't necessarily record or stream super early, but sometimes he just like, you know what, it's 5 a.m., time to get on HermitCraft. Let's go. So I don't want to leave this in a state where if he comes and sees it, he's going to be like, what is Joe thinking? If I get this to a point where it's not finished, but like the improvements I'm making are obvious and intuitive, that's fine. I don't feel... This is the length I will go to avoid leaving a note. I'll be like, I don't have to leave a note seeking forgiveness or asking permission if I just get it finished. But I can't finish it, so I can just... Let's just see how close to finished I can get it. Neon Wyvern says, what are you doing to the farm? I was adding lights and converting the rest. Jeff only got the gold rails in on like half of it, so I'm putting gold rails in on the rest of it. Oops. Wandering Mass says, I understand this reasoning very well, honestly. Whoops. Whoops. Well, that one's okay to break, I guess. It's not vandalism if it's a stylistic choice. So part of me doesn't want to deal with this part over here yet because I still need to chop those up and put the additional rails in. How much more of this do we have to do on this side, though? Quite a bit, it looks like. That's okay. We need to kill some time while we wait to see if any last-minute tips roll in. Bum, 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 bum. Because we were only 10 away from the next face camera expansion milestone, and we don't want to deprive anybody that deserves thanks for that. Bum, 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 bum. Okay, so this one we've already got most of this connected, so I think we want to actually jump back over to here to this one. Okay. How close to the... Oh my gosh. I was like, we got to be at least like 2/3 of the way across. We are less than... We're less than halfway across. Okay. I feel like, though, since Jev only had gotten the first 2 rows or so converted to the powered rails, like, this conveys through actions enough forward momentum that he could probably look at this and go, oh, I see what Joe's doing. I'm not annoyed. Joe can go watch the Venture Brothers and the Young Ones now and not keep working on this until Badger is like, it's too late to watch the Young Ones and Venture Brothers. That'd be great. Okay. So I think we're going to wrap up. It is 11:10. Yeah, I said 5 to 10 minutes. And it has now been 10 minutes. Boy. Yep. Hey, we got another tip rolling in. Let's see who it's from. It's from Jan Weiss. Thank you, Jan Weiss. That gets us evenly to our next face camera expansion milestone. So here we go. It's time to expand. Ooh. Jost, lowering the Joe pasty now to 80%. Jan Weiss says, I still rewatch Yasua's clip of learning about your engagement on a regular basement. You know who else lives in Nashville? Cracks me up every time. I'm glad y'all are so happy together. Thank you so much, Jan Weiss. I'm glad. Okay. So I think it is about time to wrap up. Let me find a safe place to log off and all that. Oh my gosh, that's lava. Okay. That could have been worse. Welcome, Draco Leech. Don't forget about the 27 black glass for your shop. I wrote it down, by which I mean Drew Baca wrote it down and I pinned it for later. Okay. So we're going to see if any other last minute tips came in. Looks like that was it. But thank you very much, Nian Weiss, again, for getting us to that last Facecamera expansion milestone. Glad you enjoyed that clip. Let me go ahead and I'm going to see who we are going to raid. Let's see here. Oh, it looks like Stern's Uncanny X-Men Pro has reached them out in Fort Collins, Colorado.
Hey, we hit level 3, y'all.
We're going to raid Don't Panic Flip. Our raid message is, howdy, y'all. Joe Hills raid here. Thank y'all so much. Until next time, y'all, this is Joe Hills from Nashville, Tennessee. Keep adventuring. Stop streaming. Stop in the stream. La da 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 da.